Chase Thomas podcast. My nephew needs me to record. See, I already hate it. I hate it.
All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Chase Thomas Podcast, where I'm still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ. Joining me, co-host of More Important Issues, Caleb Mitchell is here, back and forth here on my program, his program. You never know which one of us are going to appear on what each and every day. Caleb Mitchell, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. We joked about at the end, the weather was a little dicey yesterday. Today, I mean, can't complain. That's what fall's all
dicey.
about.
It was not dicey yesterday.
Where I was at until like 3 o'clock, it was.
Well, you said dreary. I think that was your term.
There were clouds, no sun until about 3 o'clock.
Sunday was dreary. I don't know. I didn't mind yesterday. We're now at the point of the weather calendar, and this also happens, Alex Sarkis of the UTK Daily Beacon. The older you get, the more often you talk about the weather, and that is just where we're at. And Caleb and I's elder years.
It's the most fresh. It's the only thing that changed. The only thing that consistently changes for me every day. So much is monotony, but weather's always, especially here.
You guys aren't even that old. I don't understand.
Right, but we're in the 9 to 5 grind.
Yeah. 100%. And like, have you got to the point where the morning dew, you're like, some good morning dew? That
we actually, yes, but we actually talked about this because that is what I associate with the smell of like football and like soccer.
Yes,
there's a certain, I don't know if it's a temperature that the dew gets to that it hits me. I'm like, that's AYSO soccer. That is 8 a.m. way too early to be out here. We're putting up nets. Yeah, it just has that smell.
It's a great take.
I love that though. There's some nostalgia there ultimately.
For sure.
Yeah, love the morning dew. People think like it's just 8, like taking the dog out first thing when it's spring or summer, early fall. That morning dew look, and you're like, it's gonna be a great day. It's gonna be a great day. But here we are. Alex Sarkis of UTK Daily Beacon is also here. Alex, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm good, Chase. I played a horrible round of golf this morning. It was horrible. We had speaking of morning dew, we had morning frost here, and we had a frost delay. So we had a frost delay at the course. Our tee time was at 8:50 in the morning. And so we get there 20 minutes before, and the guy's like, we're under a frost delay, so there's like 4 groups ahead of you. We ended up sitting there for like an hour and a half waiting to tee off. And everybody else who was playing this morning started showing up, and everybody they wouldn't let anybody play. So it was not an ideal situation this morning. And then I went out and played the worst round of golf that I played all year. So the vibes were not up this morning, but we got them up with a good round of pickleball afterwards. So,
wow,
what a day.
Well, we didn't have class.
See, we don't. This is the thing me and Chase don't get on a random Tuesday in October. I don't have this newness.
No, he's out here and especially like I've long raged about the big pickleball media not talking about how dangerous it is for the elderly like Caleb and myself, because it's bad on the knees, the Achilles. It's a young man's game being masqueraded as an older man's game, and it's not. Like, that's the worst time to play pickleball, is when your knees are starting to get to wear and you're just not, because it's quick twitch, you got to do quick movements. It's hard. Sure. There's a lot more going on.
Have you watched?
I'm not popping an Achilles playing pickleball in my neighborhood in my mid-30s. I'm not doing it. Like, you cannot drag me to a pickleball course. I don't care. Like, there will never come a time that I will be dragged to play a game of pickleball in my entire life. It's never going to happen. It's not like, I don't even ask, because I'm not going. I'm like Nick Saban. Don't even ask. I'm not going to, no, it's not happening. I'm Irvin Magic Johnson. I'm not going to be there. Like, that's where we're at. We're not doing pickleball.
You just need to join.
I'm not popping it.
You need to join the 50 and up league. I've watched a few older games. They don't move, so they don't have the issue of cutting it. They just stand.
Then what's the point?
I don't know. Don't ask me the difficult questions.
It helps me. I love the movement part of it. That helps me stay in shape.
Yeah, that's spoken like someone. How old are you, Alex?
21. So
that
and my buddy,
makes sense. Checks out. You're supposed to be playing pickleball right now.
Yeah, and our games get heated. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like we will hold grudges over it. It's awesome. I mean, I love it. It's one of my favorite things that I do. It's awesome.
I want to say Sylvia might be really good at pickleball. I want to say.
I could see Sylvia being very good at pickleball for some reason, but I
think
don't know.
Sylvia's good. Caleb, I
ask
think, has played some. I think Jack is really good at pickleball. Jack's good at golf, pickleball.
Yeah, Jack's good at golf. I don't know if Caleb's good at pickleball.
The way you said that.
We're gonna have to.
Are we talking about me, Caleb? Or
Oh
another
no,
Caleb?
I forgot.
I
Like there's
figured.
multiple Calebs here. There's
Oh,
multiple.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think multiple
It just
Calebs.
felt
Caleb Jarreau.
It felt like you guys paused to look at me, so I was like,
No.
is this
There's
me?
another.
I've never
yeah.
played, so I
There
probably
you
do
go.
suck.
You're not missing anything. Well, the ship has sailed, Caleb. Unfortunately.
I have a feeling it's a lot of my friends have gotten into it. I have a feeling it's on my horizon. I'm not against it, but I'm not. I play a lot of golf. I'm into golf. Where'd you play at this morning?
Whittle.
Ooh, love a little PGA Whittle.
Yes, we call it TPC Whittle.
TPC
Very
Whittle,
nice.
yeah. I've heard
That's
that
my neck
too.
of the woods. Shout out to
as you
Fountain
would
City
expect.
over here. But like also playing golf with a frost warning, isn't that a sign that like probably don't need to be golfing today? Like it's not really golf weather. It's
No,
like
This is a spur of the moment thing for us.
I'm a
last
winter
night. We're just
golfer.
like, hey,
are you?
I've got we upgraded a few years ago. We've got cart covers. I've got a heater. It's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
nice.
I mean, you get your cold. The only days it sucks in the winter is when it's real windy. That's about it.
Yeah.
If it's not windy, it's fine because you're out of the cart just hitting the ball. Other than that, it's warm in there.
It heated up nicely as the day went on. So
this time of year, yeah, you can get out there. You'll end up taking off 2 layers. You'll
exactly.
end up
That's
shirtless.
Exactly what happened.
And you can do that at Whittle Springs, which is awesome.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Well, not a soon to be sponsor, Whittle Springs Golf Course on this very program. We can go ahead and cross that one off right here on the Chase Thomas podcast. But don't forget, you can listen to Caleb Mitchell multiple times a week and on Fox Sports Knoxville on Thursday nights over there on More Important Issues. You can also read Alex over there at the UTK Daily Beacon. So make sure you check out all of his gamers. He had a gamer coming out of the basketball game for UT on the men's side on Monday night, and we'll talk about that here momentarily, but make sure you keep up with all the good folks over there at the UTK Daily Beacon as well. And you can also watch the show on our YouTube channel. So you're watching us right now, make sure you hit that subscribe button and thumbs up and comment below and all that good stuff. Well over 2,600 subs and growing more and more each and every day. So if you like what you're today and you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe on this channel. And if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast, make sure if you've not already done so, hit that subscribe button and also leave this show a 5-star rating and write us a review. It helps other people find the show, and it helps this very show continue to grow. So a couple little things, housekeeping notes here before we jump on the actual topics and all the different ways you can support Alex, Caleb, and myself and all we're doing on Tennessee content front, on the Tennessee content front. So we start things off as we do every week. Stock report, Caleb Mitchell. Which Vols football players, coaches, position rooms are up and down this week for you?
Yeah, definitely going to be more on the downside. But I came in here ready to, and I will apologize for telling everybody to buy Joey Aguilar stock last week. He bounced back just to fall back. I will say he was the highest graded offensive player for Tennessee. So I was going to dog him a little more. And then I remembered that fact, which is not great when you consider his offensive performance. And it's not that Oklahoma's defense didn't play well, didn't attack him well. They did. But a lot of his errors were unforced. That one he threw, was that to Brazel or Staley in the south end zone on that post route? I can't remember. Whichever one it was.
Brazel.
Just trying to force something that wasn't there. Tried to give another one away later on. He had another one that seemed to just kind of go to no one in particular and landed in Oklahoma's hands. So, I mean, just a lot of unforced errors from him, which we haven't seen. And I don't remember who it was. So you finally got the Joey Aguilar you expected. And I was like, no, he wasn't really a gunslinger in those moments. Mate, you could kind of argue the Brazel one, but I mean, it really wasn't kind of seemed like a panicked ball. Not much of I think he was trying to make a play, but yeah, just not his best performance. Staying on the offense, I think buy Ethan Davis stock. Probably one of the better performers, especially as far as expectations go. To come in and just, you don't have a lot for him because you haven't seen him a ton this year. He's been a little banged up as well, but a good performance from him. Defensively, I think that unit as a whole played well. I think you're still lacking in the secondary. I think your linebackers just didn't play quite well enough to really get the game in your hands. We talked about it. I mean, they, for the most part, they contained John Mateer in the run game, but they let him, which is not just on the linebackers, but that 21-yard run really just felt like another push over the edge that was like, you're not going to win this game. I mean, but the defense played well as a whole. Not a ton of just big plays, except for that obscure, we're going to throw it here as we were trying to milk the clock, which I think was kind of a two-person. I think Ty Redmond batted it up. Is that correct? On a slant route, and then Edwin Spillman caught it.
I thought Edwin batted it and caught it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was a deflection off of.
Gotcha.
I don't think.
I think Spillman did both.
Okay.
I think Spillman knocked it up in the air and also grabbed it.
Okay. Well, then just credit to Edwin Spillman. Sorry, Ty. Ty Redmond played probably his best game this year. He definitely kind of hit a wall. So maybe some earlier games played better, but one of his best games. He was big in that one. So, yeah.
But I will say on the Redmond front, like Oklahoma was a different kind of challenge, right? They weren't trying to take the top off. They weren't pushing the ball down the field. Mateer was not. Like, he's not trying to take those deep shots, and they don't have the horses. Like, Burks is fine, but Burks is not a game breaker, and Singtanya was okay in this game. But again, they weren't throwing the ball down the field, so they weren't pushing Ty and those young corners, or even like the walk-on William Wright or any of those guys. Like, it was a different type of deal, and I think that's part of why Tennessee's defense had a better day, is because I think Oklahoma's offense does not have a lot of juice at all. And
no, they tried to hit a lot of those deep routes where they kind of throw it outside, backside shoulder type throws, and John Mateer couldn't do it.
Yeah,
they tried to Gunnar Stockton us, and he just doesn't have it.
Like, we'll learn a lot more about Ty and where he's at by the end of this year against Florida. Florida's going to challenge Ty Redmond. Like, DJ Lagway in Florida, you saw with J. Michael Sturdivant and the way they were attacking Georgia, they're going to push the ball down the field. Like, they are going to challenge.
Which I'm okay with, because he throws a lot of errant balls. He throws a lot of good balls, but
I mean, they were also right there to beat Georgia this weekend. Like, I mean,
I think Florida's super competitive. I just think we see with DJ Lagway, he'll make some good throws, but he'll give you opportunities to kind of return some punches.
There's actually a lot of similarities between Aguilar and Lagway, right, Alex?
I would say so. I mean, you look at the turnover front of it. I mean, this past week obviously was not a good thing. I want to mention, though, Chase, Idris Farouk back in the action for Tennessee. We're talking about him again. I mean, his stock's got to be up, right?
Highest graded defensive player.
There you go. So, he's making the impact that the Chase thought he would. And, in terms of that secondary, he's stepping up. So I think that's something, one of the lone positives that you got from this past weekend. And also, I mean, we haven't seen the running game be as dominant as it has under Josh Heupel, but it really wasn't dominant this past week. And I think, they kind of became one-dimensional there at the end. I mean, I think Joey's turnovers maybe partly can be blamed for, not having a run game. And Tennessee gets down in that game, forcing them to, kind of have to throw up some of those balls that maybe they normally wouldn't have they had a lead or were not trailing by 2 scores. So, no, I think those are two things that affected it. Also, the 4th down play call to Jack Van Dorselaer was not, that whole sequence was a mess. Caleb's point about Ethan Davis, let's throw Ethan Davis out there to make that catch, and maybe not a guy like Van Dorselaer, just with the way that Ethan Davis has been playing. I mean, he caught a touchdown against Kentucky in a big spot. So, I think those are just some of my things, and stock-wise, I don't think that call was good, but Ethan Davis on the rise, and Idris Farouk. We love it.
Yeah. Collins Hill native, Ethan Davis. Played wide receiver at high school, played with Travis Hunter, won a state title together. Waited his turn. 3rd year, like you said, he was dealing with that upper body injury for the majority of this year, and he's healthy, man. I think he has 7 receptions now the last 2 weeks and a touchdown, and averaging about like 11 yards per reception. And I think he had 5 in this game. Like, he's heating up, and it's kind of funny. Like, I wrote about this today on the site on sportsrenaissanceman.com, was like, when highlighting Ethan Davis, was it's funny because, like, doesn't it feel like, Caleb, the season flies by in some ways, but you also, you appreciate that it's really, you have to like, one of the things I think is fascinating is that like the season's still long though, because Ethan Davis, if you had told any of us on this podcast after the Georgia game that Ethan Davis was going to have a surge down the stretch of the season, you'd be like, I don't really see it. But before the season, everyone was like, oh, preseason hype. This is Ethan Davis's chance. And then he disappears. But like, that's why these seasons, like you just kind of have to let certain stuff play out. And I think Ethan Davis getting healthy and showing that like, hey man, he's a really talented guy and kind of a different kind of tight end that Tennessee has not had in the Heupel era. And I think it's awesome that it's starting to pay off. And we'll see ultimately what he's able to do here down the stretch. But I mean, you need as many different options to help Joey Aguilar out, because I think there is no question that Joey Aguilar is feeling pressure to do a whole lot more than he's comfortable with right now, because the offensive line was bad. That was the worst showing, I think, on Saturday of the year. And I think that's what's interesting when y'all were talking about stock up, stock down. I'm surprised nobody said offensive line, because I think the offensive line's down bad. Like that, they got whipped by Oklahoma in the trenches. And that was a stunner to me, because I've been pretty bullish on this offensive line all year, but man, that was not what I anticipated. And obviously the fumble sack was huge for this game, and that was on the offensive line. So I was very surprised at what I saw from them, because they're a talented bunch. And I just, with all the rotation the last couple of weeks, and now Sanders had a rough night, but he's a true freshman and he's still learning and improving. But Perry got knocked out in this game for a little bit. And it's just, I have stock down in the offensive line. I think that's part of, Alex, to your point about the rushing attack. Like I think a lot of it might just have to be with the offensive line, because I just don't think it's been good at all the last couple weeks.
It hadn't. One thing I think that makes me kind of give this offensive line a break, and I don't think your criticism of them is unfair. It's been the last 3 games. But I think you look at, this is one of the better defensive lines they faced in that stretch, and it really challenged them. I do think they could have played a lot better. Obviously, that David Sanders just whiffing on a guy is not ideal. It's not that he got beat; he just missed assignment. And then there has been some shakeups, and some of those shakeups are self-inflicted. So yeah, I think their stock's down for sure. But yeah, probably maybe took some eyes off of them, because yeah, that was a good unit you went against.
I think it's fair. Anyone do we miss, Alex, on the stock up, stock down?
I feel like we covered about everybody. I mean, we talked both sides of the ball. Ethan Davis, Joey, offensive line. Should have mentioned offensive line. I think they gave up 4 sacks, which is the tied for the most, like they gave up against Bama. So yeah, 2 of the better D lines and pass rushes they'll face, and they haven't looked good against them. So definitely not in a good spot.
Yeah,
I want to. Yeah. Well, I just want to ask a question too about the coaching staff, because obviously it's not hot seat talk. Kirk Herbstreit can think what he wants. That's fine. He's apparently not on Twitter, so I don't know where he's getting this information from. I don't know what website he's on. But obviously there's a lot of just upset people with Josh Heupel, and I think it's, for the most part, fair criticism. But I also just, one thing I was thinking about today, is Josh Heupel's had Tennessee in situations to win. He had him in a situation to win at Georgia, didn't execute. Had a chance to be in the game at Alabama. Right or wrong call, they were there. They were on the doorstep. Didn't execute. Had a chance to convert that 4th down. Didn't execute. Again, I'm not saying that he's put him in the best situations, but he's put him in situations. Like, guys open, Jack Van Dorselayer. I'm not going to call it an easy kick, because I know it's not, but a pretty straightforward kick. And you don't, and that's a big win against Georgia. And you don't execute. And I mean, I think you can go through the list of you look at the defense. I mean, everybody's criticizing Tim Banks, but I'm sure he's just as frustrated watching Andre Turntine get stuck in no man's land every single time the play comes to him. And it's just, I have less faith in this roster the more I think about where they've been.
I also just think they're super young, like especially on defense. You look at guys who've done, like you saw the difference with, like, Vanderbilt has 40% of their roster is 22-year-olds, and you saw Tennessee and Georgia have a really, really young redshirt freshman roster. Y'all remember that graphic that kind of showed where everybody was in the SEC? Tennessee's younger. Tennessee is a younger team this year. And I mean, you saw throwing out a true freshman right tackle can be challenging at times, because Sanders is learning. Like, Sanders has a high ceiling and is going to be just fine, but he has to go through the learning curve there. I mean, Caden Proctor went through this at Alabama as a true freshman. Like, this is just part of the deal when you're starting a true freshman. I just think they got hit with the injury bug a little bit, but I think a lot of it's just the youth, especially at linebacker, right? Like, they're throwing out Perlotti sometimes it's Harmon. Ben Bolton had not played before this year as a walk-on. Jordan Burns, you're not getting anything out of him as a redshirt freshman. Arian Carter's not been healthy. T-Lander is just kind of, he's fine. And then Edward Spillen's been up and down because this is his first serious run too, because he was hurt for most of his freshman year. So he's that, like, obviously doesn't have a bunch of experience, and he's kind of learning and flashing at times. So I don't know. I just think there are so many, it's a collection of different reasons, and it's not excuses. It's just, I think you have to add all this context in there when you're talking about them, because it is complicated. And what we've seen this year is that you saw over the weekend. I mean, almost every single game was one score in the SEC this weekend. Like, that's just part of the deal. And to your point, like, Heupel's had them right there. And I mean, how many times out of 100 does Stockton hit that 4th and 16 to London Humphreys, that perfect throw? Like, I don't think he hits it very often. I think that's a perfect throw and catch that just was just horrific for Tennessee. But we all look at the kick, but I'm like, that play I don't think he's hitting that. And I don't think Humphreys is making that catch a bunch of times in a row. So I don't know. I just think this team's really good. I think this team still is really flawed, but I think there's a lot of other really good, really flawed teams in this conference right now. And I don't know. It's just kind of, they're about where I thought they'd be at the beginning of the year, which was 8-4. That was my official prediction.
I think you make a great point there, Chase, because that's just what I was about to bring up. You think of before this year, what was everybody saying? Well, 10-2 would be, almost unbelievable for this team to accomplish. You throw in all of the injuries, and then, that's before Ricky goes down, and that's before you have an unhealthy Arian Carter at this point of the year. Like, I understand people are frustrated with Heupel, and I'm not saying that maybe they shouldn't be, but you have to understand. I mean, we've still got 3 more games to go, but for to be at this point, I think it's like you said, it's about what we expected, and maybe it's better than what we could have expected with the amount of injuries that have been thrown in. We didn't know the offense was going to be this good. We didn't know Joey Aguilar was going to be this good. So, I think that's something you have to remember as well, is the ceiling for this team, I think, got raised a lot as the year went on.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb, I would throw out too that the Georgia game ruined a lot of Vol fans' perspective on this team. And that's part of the deal. When these games happen, like, hey, I mean, it's a good problem to have that it raised a lot of people's expectations for this year. Because before the year, if you pulled a lot of the Vol fans who I think have been really upset with what happened on Saturday and the frustrations of late, I don't think there'd be this much vitriol and frustration if Georgia had just done what Georgia had done the previous 4 years against Tennessee, where they just beat Tennessee and Neyland. Tennessee gets shut out in the second half again. It's 38-17, whatever. We're like, all right, this is a gap year. Like, you just kind of, like, at that point, you're like, okay, like, we know what our ceiling is. Like, let's just get to 8-4, 9-3 and move on to the next year. We got screwed. Like, you had the mulligan with the Nico aspect to all of this. But because you should have beaten Georgia, because you were right there, and because you were right there with Alabama on the road, that everyone's just like, man, this is a big what if season, because we're a couple plays away, a literal couple plays away from having an insane season. And I get that frustration. Like, I do understand that, but at the same time, man, like, I think this thing is still moving in the right direction and it's on solid footing. But I do understand the frustration, because I think the Georgia stuff just really ruined a lot of goodwill that Heupel had, and it's not really fair.
Well, for me, it's not even so much the performance at Georgia. I mean, the performance at Georgia, but in a different direction. I was like, man, I really hope that offensive lull you saw in the Georgia game has a lot more to say about Kirby Smart than it does about Josh Heupel. And I think every game after that has just been evidence of this offense is just going to go dark for long periods of time. That's just, unfortunately, you saw some of it in 2022 where it seemed like coming out of halftime, they might score, but then there'd be like 3 drives of lulls. And you have that in a little bit more emphasized way because the offense isn't quite as dynamic.
But then you have situations where Braylon Staley can just bounce off a couple guys and then just have a 60-yard touchdown catch.
That's another aspect of the Oklahoma game is if Oklahoma wraps up, you almost go 0-4 in the second half.
But I mean, that's part of it. Like,
sure.
People don't wrap up.
You play for and make the breaks, and when one comes your way, score. No, for sure. That's football. Yeah.
And I mean, Mike was really good. I mean, all the receivers were great. I mean, I think before the year, if you told anybody, because remember how much hand-wringing, myself included, about the wide receiver position going into the year.
Oh, they've by far, like, as great as Joey Aguilar has been, they have been the biggest, just winners of the season. Yeah.
100%. Like, I think most people be like, the biggest question I had about Heupel coming in this year and where the program was going was, were you going to adapt and evolve on offense?
Yeah.
And they have adapted and evolved. Like, yes, the offense isn't perfect. The offense has been really frustrating the last couple of weeks. And it kind of like you look at the yards, it's like there's some you got to make the numbers look like it's telling a very different story than for all of us watching the games. But if you're just another SEC fan, you look at it and you're like, oh, Tennessee's offense must have been. It's like, kind of. But there's a lot more context in what we're seeing with this offense right now. But we didn't know what new wrinkles would be added. We just heard that there'd be some wrinkles. No, this has been a complete overhaul, and it's great. Like, yeah, the rushing attack's not going to be as good as we would have liked, and it's going to be the worst of the Heupel era, but still good. And the passing game is electric again. Like, the chunk plays are back, and he did evolve and did adapt. So that, to me, is huge, is that he made adjustments on that side of the ball. You can always hire a different defensive coordinator. Like, I'm just not going to freak out where I'm like, oh, we got to, like, the defense is going to be the downfall. I'm like, look at this cycle. That's what I think is so interesting to me about Heupel, this cycle in particular, is he will not have a better, like, two things can be true, Alex, where, like, I am okay running it back with Tim Banks and company, like, if that's what you want to do. But if you believe that this is a unique circumstance where there's so many elite DCs in the market because this coaching carousel is so insane and this is kind of a blip, you have to seriously consider, like, this might be our only shot to really upgrade here, because a lot of these guys are going to be available that will not be available next year. And if Banks and this defense struggles again, we might be SOL. So I do kind of wonder what he does, because he doesn't fire people, but there's Blake Barker, there's Jim Knowles, there's all these dudes. You look around, you're like, man, there's a lot of elite defensive coordinators in the market this cycle that will not be available for the next couple of years. And that, to me, is the most intriguing part of all of this, Alex.
Well, I think maybe if you could give anybody on this coaching staff a mulligan, it might be Tim Banks, because just the amount of injuries that you've had, I mean, your whole starting secondary is gone. I mean, and I think, if this kind of defensive breakdown was happening with Jermon McCoy and Ricky Gibson in the lineup fully healthy, then we've got a discussion. But, I think the way, what you're going to get from this defense this year. And I think that is more reflective of the injuries than it might be of Tim Banks, because we've seen Tim Banks have, the pass rush was still there for a good amount of this year. It's disappeared a little bit these past few weeks, but like, I think the pass rush is still there. But I think without them being at full strength, you might have to give Tim Banks a mulligan. And if it continues, next year with a fully healthy roster, which who knows if you'll have, but if it continues, then we have a discussion. But I feel like he might get a pass for this year.
Did we talk about does he need to call defense from the field? Because he had to that first drive against Arkansas, and I think that was our best defensive drive.
That might be just kind of
but do you just try it? You just roll, like, hey, let's try something new this week.
I don't know. Zach Robinson's been on the sidelines for the Atlanta Falcons the last couple weeks too, and it's not paid dividends after early dividends, because it did look good that first week. I don't think it ultimately matters one way or the other. But I think that's fair, Alex.
Get a feel for the game.
Front. Like, I think Tim Banks is one of the 20 best defensive coordinators in the sport, but I think this is a unique circumstance where, like, 7 of the top 15 best defensive coordinators in the sport are potentially available. And that makes it interesting, because, like, do you want to win a title? Like, you might have to make these hard decisions.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to spend big and, like, really beef up that side? Be like, we're going to make one final push. And it's like, we are happy here, but we can make one final upgrade, to really put that defense on a championship level that we're certain can get there. And it's interesting. I don't know what they'll do on that regard. Alex, what was your biggest letdown against Oklahoma for the Vols?
I think you have to say Joey Aguilar, because that's, in my opinion, the reason they lost the game. I mean, not that the strip sack was his fault, but that was obviously really a transition point in that game and one of the teetering points. And obviously the interceptions that more acted as arm punts, how uncompetitive they were. But no, I think, he still didn't have his worst game in terms of passing yards and getting his receivers involved, but just the decision making was not there. And I think we saw the Joey Aguilar against the best defense in the SEC. And he hasn't seen a defense like that this year. So I think just that and the mixed with the offensive line, I think that would be my big point is, kind of that whole unit was not maybe you could have expected a little bit more. I just think his decision making, we knew he was a gunslinger because he, especially coming off that game in Kentucky, he threw, I feel like, some similar passes. I mean, they were on target, but he's had that mentality. I'm just going to throw it up and hope my guys come down with it, which has been working. But when those guys, when you got pressure in your face and that's what you do, it's not going to end well.
Yeah, and that's okay. Like that was Joey's first stink bomb of the year.
Exactly.
We're in early November.
Yeah.
And like you said, I came at the top, and he still was the highest graded offensive player for the ball. So it wasn't even that bad. Like, because my favorite thing about Joey Aguilar, though, is that he has the Hendon Hooker thing where I never once worry about Aguilar letting the previous mess with his confidence at all. That man is going to let it rip right after throwing the nastiest pick or worst play imaginable. And that is important. Like great quarterbacks have to be able to wipe it. Like that was my favorite thing about Hendon against Alabama, where you have that fumble on the RPO and you're like, like we could all feel it the beginning of the fourth quarter where it was like, this is where the dam breaks. And it was like, it was fun for a while. And then he immediately goes right down the field and scores a touchdown. Like he completely wiped it. And I think that's a rare thing, because I don't think the previous two quarterbacks were necessarily as strong in wiping mistakes, and just being like, nope, keep it moving. We're going to bounce back immediately, and I'm going to take chances down the field all over again. Just because I messed up here does not mean I'm going to mess up on the next throw. And that's paid dividends for Brazel and Matthews and Staley, is that he keeps taking shots. Like, and that is important, especially with some of the limitations with this team and the running game. Like, I think two things to be true, Caleb, where Aguilar had a bad game, but man, the rushing attack was awful, and the offensive line was bad. The stuff around him was not great. The receivers were good again, but man, Aguilar was put in a lot of bad spots. And yeah, he shouldn't have thrown that second pick where he didn't see the safety, and like that's a mess up. But I'm like, man, Aguilar still made some other big key time throws, and it wasn't his fault that he had the fumble. And I mean, he's still, I don't know. I think the stuff around him was more concerning, which was the offensive line and the rushing attack that just, I don't even know what the rotation is right now. Like, I don't think Tennessee knows. Like, it's just bizarre how they're rotating this year. And it just doesn't seem like there's a coherent plan week to week at what they're doing at running back.
I feel like they're riding the hot hand more.
But I mean, Bishop was
rather
a hot
than
hand. Like, and they kind of pulled on Bishop for a while.
Yeah, I do think they went to Star when they were trying to use them, and this is my view of this game, and it may not be true. When they were trying to use them more in the passing game, it was Star's role. And that may not be true. I feel like this year though the rotations made more sense than past years, where it's like your drive. Doesn't matter how you're running the football or how the other guys run the football. You get the next one. It's like written into their NIL contracts or something. I don't know.
But it's still like there was a rhythm to it. Like there was, I mean, especially when they had the three-headed monster in 23, I mean, there was a rhythm. Like,
it was just
in
frustrating
too.
To go from Jalen Wright to Jabari Small when Jalen was running the ball so well, and he only had 3 touches on the last drive, but they were all explosive plays. And now Jabari Small is going to come in, and he's different back. He's not running the ball well, but he gets his drive. It was, I mean, there's definitely rhythm, but it was just frustrating at times.
Interesting. I looked at that as a positive. You're the first person I've talked to who was frustrated by that rotation.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have the same frustrations, Alex?
I feel like it's been okay this year. I mean, I don't know. I think obviously you got to go with Bishop. He's really had 2 career games these last 2, but no, I just think Oklahoma did a good job of stopping the run this past weekend. I think that's the short of it. I mean, I don't know if it's anything that Tennessee did. I think Oklahoma's got a good defense. That's why they don't allow many points. So I think, it might be more on Oklahoma's defense than it is on Tennessee's running backs or Tennessee's offensive line.
That's fair. Caleb, did you come away thinking Tennessee is trending the wrong way down the stretch?
Yeah. I mean, I just think you got to dig in it. I mean, my biggest thing is, especially this late in the season when this game mattered so much. This was an elimination game. You got to find ways to execute. Like you said, it's a long season, and we are in the long end of it. And it's concerning that we can't find ways to execute in crucial times. I don't think, kind of going back to our points of expectations, I don't think that means the season can just completely end it's going to end on a bad note by any means. I think Florida and Vanderbilt are winnable games. I say that in a very tense way. I go back to, last week, I still believe it. Your offense plays like they did against Kentucky, plays against like they did against Georgia. Like you win those two games. No problem. You win this game. No problem if you perform like that. So I'll lean towards trending the wrong direction because it's concerning that you can't execute, but I also don't think I'm not, again, going back to the national media who act like we're all trying to burn this place down. I'm not in that mode. I don't think many people are.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that, Alex. I think that's all been very overblown. I do think it's fair to have criticism about some game management questions where you're running down the clock, the 2-minute warning, where it's you burn 40 seconds for nothing. And certain, there are real fair conversations to be had about game management and that part of it. It doesn't mean the sky's falling and you want to make a change at head coach, but you also can have fair, honest conversations that are taken in good faith. And I think there's always room for growth and improvement. And I think coming out of that kind of loss and some of the issues we're still seeing pop up, I think it's fair to have constructive criticism about certain things that seem to linger with Josh Heupel, and also be grateful and still want him to be your head coach, but also want him to get better at those things. That's part of making $220,000 a week, is that you want to get better at those things. And I think it's fair for fans to talk about that.
Yeah, totally. And I think one thing that Heupel has stressed a lot, and as we've discussed, it's really some of the reasons that they've lost these games, is it's all in the fundamentals, not just for the players, but probably for coaches as well.
Yeah.
It's tough to be a head coach, and I can't say that I would do anything differently. Now, before a fourth down, when you let 40 seconds blow off, now that's a different story. But everybody can sit there in their armchair and criticize, but it's not like coaches are expected to be perfect either. And like we said with the expectations of this team, you should have won the game on Saturday, but Oklahoma did a good job of capitalizing on the turnovers that we discussed. I think they had 12 points off of turnovers. So, they did their jobs. But sometimes, if the other team does their job, you're not going to win. And that comes down to coaching, comes down to play, whatever. That's just sports. So, I think that, the people that are I haven't seen a whole lot of the people calling for Heupel to be on the hot seat, but, that's, it's an unrealistic argument, I think, at this point.
Sure.
And, the way that he has transformed this program, I don't think anybody could have really asked for anything better.
I think X has ruined a lot of things. The For You page sucks. I only stay on following. And I think the way X can correct that, keep the For You, whatever, we need a grok where they respond to every tweet, especially from Tennessee fans. But I think any sports fans, it needs to be an 8-hour window where this was tweeted within an 8-hour window of a game. This was tweeted during the game, because I'll fire off some tweets during the game that I don't mean. I'm just angry and emotional. And so I need grok to respond doing their, what's it called? It's not a fact check, but essentially a fact check. They call it something.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Just needs to respond. This occurred at the 12-minute mark of the Tennessee-Oklahoma game.
And the way the brain works is fandom brain does not cool off for at least 12 to 15 hours.
It's kind of the fun of firing off a tweet during a game is what I'm saying right now is very much emotionally charged.
That's why post-game shows do really well. Why I love listening to Basilio and Volunteer Reaction the morning after a game as I'm doing chores around the house, because it's I'm definitely not emotionally charged like that in the morning as I'm making coffee and getting around, but it's also just man, there's nothing like it. When you're that emotionally hopped up, either in a positive or negative direction after a game that you very much care about. And it's just It's one of the problems with social media is that people used to just yell in their house or make a call to the radio station, and that was it. And they carried on with their day, and they're like, they cooled off, and that was it. But now they can tweet about it like all day long, and then you're like, oh, Tennessee fans are really mad, and they really want Heupel gone. It's like, I don't know, man. Do you know? I mean, there's 100,000+ people in that stadium that night. Most of them aren't tweeting, and most of them are not like. There's a lot of Tennessee football fans.
Yeah,
this is a very small ball subset.
I need X Spaces to come back. That was I used to just hop in random fan like at Nebraska. I got into one time. That was a ton of fun. Alabama's were always good.
Them?
I would try to, and I got into a few. I just act like an angry fan and just yell about whatever they're yelling about. It was so much fun.
Interesting. The more we learn about Kale Beach every day, like things that I would not do. I learned from my buddy Matt, who I do the podcast with multiple nights a week. Like we went to college together, and like he's a very laid back guy. And he was talking about he drove to the Florida Georgia game this weekend, and he was like, yeah, I was yelling the whole time and like really into it. And I'm just like, I'm trying to imagine like him just yelling like throughout a game and just like screaming and like talking smack to other people. And I'm like, this is bizarre. Like it's completely out of character. I've never been to a game with him, and I'm just like, this would be one of the more jarring things, because here's me at a Tennessee football, baseball, or basketball game, or at any Atlanta sporting event. That's me. The entire game. It's just thinking, and that's about it.
The
and
sports
I'll make
renaissance man.
I'm the what?
You're the sports renaissance man.
Yeah, I don't get it.
That's right.
I'm a huge introvert, and I also just don't like talking during games. And there are people in my life that I love dearly that I will not watch a game with, because they'll want to chit chat during the game, and I can't. Like I can't do it. Drives me nuts. Like I'm totally fine. It's kind of like going to the movies by myself. I always love doing that. You don't need somebody for it. Like I love my wife going to sporting events with me. I love going with my friends or whatever, but I actually could be totally fine. I mean, I go to high school games and cover them on Friday nights by myself, and I am just talking, or I'm just taking it all in, taking my notes, like I'm fine. Like I'm chilling. I get my hot dog and cheeseburger, whatever, and then I'm fine. Like I can not say a word for 3 hours and I'm fine.
But wasn't it you that got on to me? You thought it was so weird that I'll eat at restaurants by myself?
No, that's different.
I don't see how, but different. Okay.
I agree. I'm a Chase on this.
I don't see how, but
I can't do a restaurant by myself. I can't.
Not even at the bar.
Myself. I can do a coffee shop by myself though. Coffee shops by myself is fine. I cannot do like a sit down. If I have a server, like wait, I can't. Like that's a struggle.
I would say 99% of the time I'm sitting at the bar, so it's not quite the
bar is different.
That's different. Okay, that is different. Yeah.
Now sometimes it'll be like I might swing into like a Zaxby's or Chick-fil-A and just would rather sit down there and eat.
Yeah.
So, but that's not a server again. So I don't know if I've ever sat and been serviced other than a bartender.
That's what I'm saying. Bartender is very different. Like sitting at the bar top, but like grabbing a booth by yourself and then
I don't know if I've ever done that.
Yeah.
I probably have, because the bar's been full.
Interesting. You're just posted up. You're like, this is all me.
No, it's sometimes nice to not eat at your house. I don't know.
I feel that. I just think I feel uncomfortable where I'm like, I'm taking up the space, and it just feels like I'm like, I know the server is like, oh great.
Oh, I would never do it on a crowded night ever.
Okay.
Yeah, that
so
would make
rules.
me, that would make me nervous.
A man's got to have a code.
Well, I just know that, like you said, they would want you out of there. Like they don't. Yeah, no, but I tip well. I'm a good tipper.
That's good.
I think. I don't know. I try to.
Okay.
Try to be. Some servers might oppose that thought, but so I don't want to speak for them.
I'm a straight always like keep it good, like good or bad server. Like I just because you just never know what people are going through, good or bad. And
yeah, I mean my minimum's usually I guess 15. Is that what the recommended is 15? Like I'm always 15.
Yeah.
What I was gonna tell you too about yelling. I yell at games sometimes. Usually just like not kind of like either getting onto the ref, just in a fun. You try to make it like not true anger, unless it's at the red hat. I yell at the red hat often. I hate that red hat guy. If I ever see him in public, on site.
What's the red hat guy?
The timeout guy.
Oh,
TV timeout guy. Can't stand him.
He knows his job. It's not his fault.
I think he could tell ESPN to eat it and just stay there. I think he could. He has that power. Just think about that.
I don't think he has that power. I think he's just getting fired and he's getting immediately replaced with somebody else.
Maybe, but for one game, it could be his moment.
You wanted to be a legend.
He could win me over. I mean, think about that. But
this is a wild take.
I don't usually yell at players, but what game was that? Arkansas maybe, where Mike Matthews just didn't block for Braylon Staley, and it got kind of quiet, and I just yelled, "Quit watching!" like as loud as I could, and everyone was like, "I mean, that's what we're here to do." Like watch the game, and I'm like, "I'm yelling at Mike Matthews."
See that was so I could see that being confusing. Where they're like, "Is he mad at us?" It's a
turn around. No, yeah, it was that was out of character for me. So I kind of sat down and like thought about it. But I was like, it was out after I was complaining about him not blocking against Mississippi State, and it riled me up.
Alex, are you I imagine like at Pirates games, is that part of you? Do you have to fight it? Like just yelling like
Pittsburgh sports,
do something.
Pittsburgh sports, I'm a different animal.
Okay.
College, Tennessee. I mean, obviously I'm covering, so I don't, really show. I honestly, I don't really show anything, obviously. But Pittsburgh sports, if stuff's going bad, you don't want to be around me.
Oh no.
Yeah. I get very, very
get hot
things. Yes, and especially the Pirates. I mean, this past year we went to a Phillies game when the Phillies came to Pittsburgh, and I got into some words were exchanged with some Philly fans a few times.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is why.
If you knew me outside of this setting, you would probably assume that.
Interesting.
Outside of the professional setting, I'm very competitive. So
I can see the competitive part.
I grew. I mean, that's just how we grew up in a house full of boys. We're always, we're very loud, all of us. So
I'm more likely to yell at our fans than I am at opposing fans.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Caleb. I will not. I don't boo opposing players or teams or anything. I keep it all in house. I mean, Pirates games, I boo the Pirates more than anybody.
Oh, see, I hate when people like boo. Like some people booed Andre Turrentine. You all know my feelings, and I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, what are we?
Yeah,
doing?
I don't like booing your own guys.
There used to be a guy growing up that used to sit behind us in L that would just yell, "Throw it" all the time. Like quarterback would get the ball, throw it. I used to get on to him all the time. I mean, it like that kind of stuff drives me nuts. People just yelling nonsense. People yelling about a flag. I'm like, guys, we saw he got turned around, held by his jersey. Like, I will yell about penalties. I'm with you, but let's call it a spade here. I just, I don't support stupidity, and
that's
so
good.
I try to fight it.
I will say I am very logical in the way that I like. If I see laziness from a professional baseball team, I will get upset.
I love that.
Which that's unacceptable to me. So that's what I will do.
Sprint out the grounder. Who knows? Make a play.
Exactly. And we've I've seen way too much of that. So,
I internalize where I just go like with the hat. I'm just like this.
You're a surrender Cobra kind of guy.
Yeah, I'm a huge surrender Cobra guy. 100%.
Yes.
Like there's been many a games.
See, I'll sit down when things like the last two possessions of Tennessee's offense this week, I sat down for it, which again, nice to have the radio call now. I can hear what's going on, and I'll look between people. I've had people like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I'll sit down. I'm like, no, this is like you do you. This is on me. I can't stand for this, figuratively and literally.
The worst it ever was, and we'll wrap up with some Tennessee hoops here, is do y'all remember the Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals first inning playoff game about 6-7 years ago now with Mike Fultonevich.
Yeah.
Where the Cardinals, I think they scored in the top of the first. Winner moved on, and I'm pretty certain the Cardinals had 13 top of the first inning runs. And like it was a whole deal. Like we were all preparing. Like I took off work to like come on work because it was a day game. When I tell you, I have never been more despondent and just like the game was over before the Atlanta Braves took an opportunity to bat. Like that was one of like I don't know if that ever will be topped because like 28-3 was horrific in a lot of ways, but like there was a back and forth. There's a Julio Jones play away from still averting that disaster. Like this was just over immediately. And like you still were like, do I watch the whole game? Do I literally just check out? Do I like this whole thing? There's nothing more brutal where you're like, it's okay. It's at 5. Still manageable. Hard. 5. Oh, we're up to 9. Oh, we're up to double digits. Okay. Like this is legitimately just done. It was just done. And that was the.
Did you watch 9 innings of it?
No.
Okay.
I think I got to like 5 or 6 and I was
wow.
Like, yeah.
Farther than I would have made it.
Well, I mean, I took the day. Like that was my afternoon.
Well, I'll give up early intentionally and hoping it's my fault. That's my move.
There you go.
I know you want to talk hoops, but did you see, speaking of Tom Brady, did you see where he cloned his dog?
Yeah, that's.
Do you think? But that could be our smoky.
No, it was
answer.
10 runs, by the way, in the first inning, and they won 13-1. 2019. So yeah, 6 years ago.
We could just clone Smokey 10.
Yeah, I love Khaleesi dearly. I'm not on board with the cloning.
I'm not either, but I also really want. I like dogs. I do. I don't know if I go like I don't. I guess love dogs. But I really love my dog.
Yeah, but
So
I also love my dog as
get
unique.
the want.
You know, like she's it. Like, and then like that's it. Like that's.
He has such a cool personality. I'm like, I wish.
Yeah, I don't want to read like.
I want my next dog to have his personality, and you can't guarantee that. As much as he feels like my blood, he's not, unfortunately.
It's just different, you know?
Yeah.
And that's okay.
I agree. I'll say that. I get it.
I wouldn't do it.
If I had that much money, I probably would try it.
It's too weird. I'm not doing it. There's no chance I'm doing that. It's just odd. Alex, early overreaction to Tennessee kind of scraping by the Mercer Bears on Monday night inside Food City Center at Thompson Bowling Arena. What did you find and see interesting in the opener against Mercer?
Well, I think the big thing that I took away was the amount of turnovers that Tennessee committed. I think they had 19 turnovers. That's obviously not going to fly, but it's a Rick Barnes coach team, a debut. I think that'll get cleaned up. But I think buy Troy Henderson stock. That's a guy that I saw a lot out of, and he really played some great minutes there towards the end. Rick talked after the game and said that those guys are going to get runs. Him and Dwayne Brown, those guys, the freshmen are going to be involved this year. And I think that's, one of the big things that you're going to see early. But Troy Henderson put up some really great minutes there at the end. Also, Bishop Boswell defensively was good. I mean, he didn't have you don't expect him to score, but defensively he's good. And you see that Rick Barnes trusts him by putting him in the starting lineup now twice in a row. So we'll see how that shakes out. But yeah, Troy Henderson is my big takeaway.
He can shoot, man. I like. He had a really lucky bank in 3 at one point, but he's got a great stroke. Like Troy Henderson is going to be a player for Tennessee. I agree.
Yeah.
I will say though, Caleb, the starting lineup has to end. Like that starting lineup is putrid. It's offensively challenged. I would say is the nicest, delicate way I can frame starting Felix Okpara, Jalen Carey, and Bishop Boswell together, but they cannot start together. That is not your closing 5. That is not even close to your best 5. I appreciate starting that way. And Carey, to his credit, I think fought through a lot of early struggles. Still think Jalen Carey stock probably down after this one, especially with what we saw from Dwayne Brown, who looked really good as another true freshman, and like strong Tobe Awaka vibes for Dwayne Brown out of the gate there. So the Carey experiment starting at the 4 probably over, and he's gonna give you valuable minutes. They don't need to be the starting minutes. Yeah, like he needs to be Euros, right? Like he needs to get like his maybe 8 to 10 type deal. You don't like her. Euros was great. He was fun. I loved having Euros on my team. He was fun. I'll grant you that. Did you beat Duke in the Olivier Comlois game in the tournament without He did Euros? His best to not beat Duke. Look. I'll say this, as much as that bullcrap Jay Billis spilled, if you just watch Euros play, his point's validated. I love Euros. You can't tell me I'm wrong. You can't. I love the Euros era. I didn't want him playing 35 minutes, but I enjoyed Euros getting in there for 10, 15. The most frustrating thing about him has nothing to do with him. It was last year fans would be like, imagine if he was on this team. No, he wouldn't play. So that's number one. He would have played last year. He would have played 6 minutes a game. I don't know. I think Euros would have gotten more. They were playing Cade at the backup 5 because they were so thin for a lot of last year.
I think they would have been happy with what Cade gave them.
You have some absolutely egregious Euros bias here, Caleb Mitchell, that we can't stand. We can't stand for. The other thing too about last night, I like what we saw from Eitan Berg, and he just looks to me though, what's interesting and kind of I don't know if this is a problem, but I do think it's interesting because I don't know if what y'all saw, but like, I think he's a great table setter. Like he was a little too erratic sometimes, but he's very comfortable with the ball in his hands. Like he's a backup point guard. Like we were wondering who was going to be the backup point guard. It has to be Berg. Like when Gillespie's sitting, I think Berg has to be the one leading the offense and handling the ball in that spot. But I also kind of thought he was going to be the preseason best bet to be the starter at the 2. And I'm like, I don't know if he's going to be able to do that because I think they really need him to back up Gillespie. And that kind of opens the door maybe for Troy Henderson, to your point, Alex. Like, I don't know. Bishop Boswell has to score more. He has to do more offensively because,
certainly,
even though Meshack had his limitations, Meshack drove and kicked, Caleb. Like, Meshack went to the line. Meshack would do other stuff. Obviously, deflections and all kinds of different things that he would he would be great. He was a valuable piece on the floor, obviously. Like, he's got to do other stuff. Like, I like Bishop defensively and good locker room guy. He has to do more. Like Bishop he can't be getting the Tony Snell cardio minutes for Tennessee to be the starter at the 2 long term.
Yeah, he just got to take more shots. And that's what JP talked about that after the game. You know, they've been trying to get Bishop open looks. And when he gets those open looks, he's got to shoot it because sometimes you'll see him not look like he doesn't want to take a shot sometimes and he'll, kick it. So, no, I think he's got to get more confidence in his shot because I think he can do it. But, yeah, we'll see how that progresses. But they're going to need to get him shooting more because, like you said, he's got to contribute on the scoreboard.
Speaking of, you mentioned his name. My JP Island stock that I've just been sitting on for the last couple of years, coming out great. Just elite inside work here against Mercer. Like, he has post moves that nobody else has in this team. Like, he has a bag. JP can do stuff inside. He's comfortable inside. You can throw it down to him and he can go to work. And I was very excited to see a healthy JP Estrella back in my life. And it's going to be great. I think, and I guess this is kind of an interesting thing. I was writing about it yesterday, Caleb, but there's kind of an interesting log jam in the front court for Tennessee's basketball team right now, which is Felix can only play the 5. Like, Felix is a really good player, but Felix is going to play a lot of minutes at the 5. JP, and for floor spacing reasons, probably needs to be a 5, but he's not going to get a bunch of minutes there because barring Felix being in foul trouble. Mm-hmm. But like Carey can mix and match between the 4 and 5. I think Dwayne Brown can mix and match between the 4 and the 5. Cade can even go like 4, 5, 3 and move around. But the only guy who can't move around is Felix, and he's your best player in that spot. So I do kind of wonder how Rick is going to balance this because I do think spacing, like you saw, the offense was not good last night, and the turnovers were obviously a big part of it. But like, you got to figure out something on the spacing department. And I think Estrella's obviously gotten a lot better, and I think he's going to have a great year. But I don't know how much you're going to be able to get away with him and Felix playing together. Like, I don't know. Those are your 2 best bigs, and they're kind of blocking one another. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand it. And hand up, I'm still in my ESPN dispute, so I didn't get to watch this game last night.
Oh, no.
I didn't see the issues. Yeah.
Oh, that even applied to like SEC Network Plus and everything. You can't even get that.
So I tried to watch it, and it said no, which I thought I got SEC Network Plus through my ESPN Plus subscription, and I still think I might. So I've got to find out how to log out of my TV provider so they don't just default to saying you can't watch this. I might get suckered in. I don't want to. I don't want to. Like, I know I'm a sucker. I'm going to have to eventually. But the Lady Vols they kicked off against LSU in the SEC tournament. And if I want to watch, I'm going to have to give in to Kirk Herbstreit's demands, and that hurts. But no, I understand what you're saying. Because there's going to be situations where I think it'd be fine when you need 2 bigs to play, but it's going to be few and far between.
What ends first, Alex? The shutdown or the ESPN YouTube TV dispute?
What shutdown are we talking about?
Caleb Mitchell, what can the good folks check out from you and the team
Dang it.
over at More Important Issues this week?
I was gonna try to close out the show this week or this time.
That's a callback to last night, Alex. Like instinctively, like we were wrapping up, and I think Caleb just like kind of threw me, like, and I was just like, I went in my closing voice and like started. I was like, what is happening? Like my brain just went full muscle memory, and I was like closing out his show. Where I'm like, Caleb, and I'm like, whoa. Like I caught myself as I was getting ready to do it. I was like, what?
It was
just
great.
happened?
I was gonna let him. He stopped himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be back on tomorrow. Me and Alex are gonna be talking about the government shutdown in depth. It'll be posted on NPR later. It's gonna be an awesome show. But Thursday, the real show will be on Fox Sports Knox. Looking for a special guest by week. Maybe we'll get another Ross Kivett. Did you see how long he was on our radio show the other night?
How long did he go?
40 minutes, I think. A radio
Alex,
show is
Ross Kivett
awesome.
There's no one who Ross Kivett loves in the Knoxville media market quite like Caleb Mitchell and Landon Raby, because
He got the
man
phone
has given
call.
him 19 hours of content over just the last year alone.
He got he gave us like an hour and a half. He was the coach at Houston. We got the phone call for, I can't pronounce the dude's name, the guy from Florida.
Oh yeah,
about that, and then his promotion while he was on our show. That's how long he was on our show. So yeah, maybe a special guest. I don't know. Maybe it'll be Ross Kivett again. Everyone loves that. The people love him. And then our Sunday show. We'll be back recapping a very hopefully uneventful bye week.
Yeah, I like Tennessee against the bye this weekend. Alex Sarkis, what can the good folks check out from you and the team over at UTK Daily Beacon this week?
We have our basketball preview issue dropping tomorrow, I believe. So pick one up if you're on campus. We put a lot of work into that, so that'll be good. Bye week, but we'll have basketball coverage this week. Northern Kentucky. And yeah, I think that's it.
There you go. Alex Sarkis, Caleb Mitchell, always a pleasure, and I'll talk to y'all again next week.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.